I think we'll go around. I just, I'm not in my natural environment, I guess you could put it that way. So I'm working off my little computer here, which is it's like the little engine that could, it's hanging in there. Then when the new laptop shows up, but they it won't show up till middle of January. I was very surprised. So, um, I don't know that we have a whole. Oh, Mark is here. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you, Mark. W8MAF.
Hello.
Hello. All right. So we don't have a lot of change, or I don't have a lot to report since last week. We're basically in the same situation. Although I did reach out to Mark, we exchanged a few emails. My hope was I'd be able to talk to him during the week, but it just didn't turn out that way. But uh, um, if we start just to get an idea in terms of the equipment that's arrived so far. I wonder, Len, if you can just give us an update on what we have, and we'll talk about uh, our next step there. I know a few things came in. A few things came in. So can you give us an update on that?
Uh, well, outside of what we know we already have, we got the power supply in the cabinet. We have the repeater itself here. We have the amplifier, um, and we had some. The latest that came was the parts, the connectors that Andrew ordered.
Great.
We have one more shipment that's on its way. I understand. I don't have any particulars on it. That's the encoder. If if eh, okay,
I hope
I
you.
gave into the parts, and I told him I let him know when the other thing came in. That is what is the controller that's going to tie everything together.
Oh,
And
so
he's
the controller, are you saying the controller was delivered or you're waiting for it to be delivered?
is to be delivered.
But it has been ordered, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
What
Uh,
which controller is that, Len?
well, that's what I was hoping. See, I didn't order it, so I don't know
Right.
the
It's
particulars.
so I,
Uh,
I can speak to that. It's the device that we're using instead of the repeater controller. It's the device that goes between the repeater and the PC.
Right.
And the PC,
The radio the radio thin client module, the RTCM,
yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yes, thank you. It's I can never get those that four-letter acronym. I can never keep it straight, but
Okay.
that's the
Just one.
device that's on order.
Yep. There you go. Very good. All right. And that's been ordered, right? And just waiting delivery. I haven't, I don't see any invoices or POs uploaded to the Google Drive yet, and I don't know
Is
if
that the one
anyone's
that's got the
continuing to do
built-in
that.
voter?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, it is.
All right.
And
oh,
actually, while I'm unmuted and talking, I will show you this. Uh-oh. Are you looking at me?
Yeah.
Me? Okay, great. So the network equipment came in. I have it set up here on the bench in in the house because it's cold. This guy is our firewall router.
We're still
This
seeing
is
you.
the
We're still seeing you, Dave.
go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Well, what while you're doing that, let me just go over here real quick. So this bottom device here, this is the router, this is the firewall. This is going to be like the brains of the operation. This is going to tell all of the signals where it needs to go. This center device is a 24 port switch. And then the top one, this is the controllable power supply. So there are, I've forgotten how many, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's 17 regular Edison outlets that can be individually powered on and off. And
Oh,
then
that's
there's
brilliant.
also 4 USB-C connections that supply power at 2 amps apiece, and they can also be power cycled if needed. Um, you can log into this from your phone. You can log into it from a computer. You can log into it from a number of devices. Um, And then, so the extraneous or the peripherals that I have for it, Len, this is the Swiss Army knife that you were asking me about. This is just a little wireless access point because we won't have wireless up there if we don't have that. So that's a wireless access point. And then this is to replace the baby cam. This was just a cheap camera, but it's all in the same ecosystem. So when you just go to the Unify app on your phone, you'll be able to see this, you'll be able to see this, you'll be able to see this, and you'll be able to see the camera all just in one app.
Wow. Hey,
Wow,
Dave,
that's
I got a
quite
question for you.
Sure.
If which will inadvertently, it's going to happen. If someone has to inadvertently reset that system, how long is the reset on it before it's operational again?
Do you mean if you were to like power cycle the router?
Yeah, if it inadvertently got cycled in power, by someone working in the rack or remotely, setting it off where it has to be reset, how long, what is the reboot time on that?
So this the power distribution unit is instantaneous. It's just like a power strip. So the power turns on. The computer in the back end boots. It takes about 30 seconds, but the power is returned to the outlets immediately.
Okay, but I mean the
The
controller itself reboots, that
so
RTC will reboot very rapidly. I mean, how fast is what I
Oh,
was.
you mean the repeater controller? That's a question
Yeah.
for Andrew. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that piece of equipment at all.
Okay, because I'm just thinking that that's something that I could see getting inadvertently shut down one way or another at some point.
Well,
you mean,
if it's running a thin client, I can't see it being more than a minute.
yeah. And you think you see it being shut down? Why? Because we have the remote switching,
I
AC
just
switch,
see
mean?
hands getting in there, if someone's working in the rack itself or yeah,
Yeah,
remotely, especially on the learning curve with it. I could
right,
see something along those lines happening. So
right,
just trying to figure out how long the repeater would be down while it's rebooting itself.
right.
I would say equal amount of time as the current repeater. It's the current repeater. If you pull the power on the current shoot, I've forgotten what it is, that the Motorola device that we currently use, and then you
Yeah.
plug it back in again.
Quantar.
The Quantar, thank you. It takes like 90 seconds to 2 minutes to fully boot back up and be back on the air.
Right.
Okay.
Who
Which
makes
is,
that power switching unit?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who makes that power switching unit?
It's made by a company called Ubiquiti. Actually,
Oh,
all
yeah.
of this network equipment is made by a company called Ubiquiti.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
oh, yeah. That's the phone company. Not the phone
Yeah.
company, but they make, yeah. Wow.
They make a lot
So
of equipment. They make a lot of networking equipment.
if, how far away are we from the point of being able to get so that like folks like Andrew and the other Motorola experts that we have can remote into it and you know discover what functionality there is and things like that. Or
Andrew and
yeah,
I are working.
but those are very handy being able to power cycle the individual pieces of equipment. But what would be, and maybe we don't even need the complete system there. I guess my question really is, do we have the ability, we being, for programming do we have the ability, wait, let me rephrase that. How long do you think it'll be before it'll be possible to remote into the repeater itself, for various to do various functions and, like I said, discovery and figure out how it all works. Is that something that's within the reach of what we have, or is that still off in the distance?
That's in a distance, Joe. I'll address that because Dave and Andrew are working on this stuff that's uh, experimental. It's a little up in the air. We don't know what the time frame is. First thing is we got to get the rest of the equipment in our hands. They don't have everything in their hands yet. And I expect after Christmas, we'll probably have it delivered and they'll have it and be able to start working on it. Now, Andrew and I have been working on the repeater itself, the user programmable stuff, so we make the flip the right switches. That is not complex. That is not complicated. The terminology and understanding what you're doing might be to be able to get the definitions of functions correctly.
Yeah.
But once we flip the right switches and everything, it's just a matter of recording it back in there, and it's ready to run. Setting up this stuff that they're doing and making the cables for it, that's what's going to take our time. And we won't be able to do that until after Christmas. I'm almost certain.
I think Dave's
Right.
ready
Does
to
that
come
help?
back in.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
John?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, we
Yes,
got you.
Dave, go ahead.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Fantastic. Okay, so yes, it's almost like I opened my mouth and Len just said the exact words that I was going to say. Andrew and I, because we have jobs, we're working on this when we get 10 minutes or a half an hour. Like I'll sit down, I'll do some work, I'll stand up and I go shovel snow or feed the dog. Like I got stuff to do. I do not anticipate it taking very long to get it like configured once I get the right switch. And then I'll set up our VLANs as we're going to be having them, and I'll set up the different accounts, the remote accounts on the firewall. But until I have that done, I would prefer to keep it here. I have an internet connection. My laptop is sitting beside it. I don't have to rely on Len's internet connection to let me in, or whatever. I would prefer to have the equipment here on the bench with me. And I know that when Andrew and myself spoke, he was of the same opinion. He prefers having the stuff here, that if he, screws it up and has to do a hard reset, that he can do a hard reset right there on the bench. He doesn't have to call Len and ask him to go out to the garage with a paper clip and press the power button or whatever. So
Right.
I do anticipate, early to mid-January being able to put the stuff in. Well, at least my stuff will go in the rack at that stage.
Right. I guess what I wasn't suggesting to move, although maybe I said it, I don't know. But in hindsight, when you're ready, that would be the right time to move it in. I was just curious, is there a way
Oh
of
yeah, a time frame is
kludging together something if needs be? But if it's the middle of January, I think, that certainly would work too. But
it would be earlier if we didn't have a holiday in the middle of it. But
oh
with
well,
family and everything else, like it's
sure.
I think with the holiday it'll be early January or early to mid January. My stuff will be ready, and I don't want to speak for Andrew.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's good. Very, very good. All right. So, it just reviewing, we have the antenna, the hard line, we have the duplexer and the circulator. The circulator, though, I think is at the site currently, and we'll have to get. I know John Teagarden had wanted to try a few things with it, so we'll get with him. Could you the original controller? I heard somebody say that it was that the one that was on our list originally. I'm trying to find it, and I just again I'm working off my little laptop here.
No.
Which
short answer
controller?
is no.
The answer is no. What was
The short answer is no. Correct. It's not the Artcom that was on the original list. Correct.
Okay, thank you. Do you happen to know, Al, what it is?
Yes, it's the radio thin client modules that Dave was just talking about. RTCM All-Star modules.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. I'm just writing that. Okay. Good. Okay, so that's on its way. The controller's on its way, so that's good. Good to know. All right. And we're working with Mark. We're working on the real estate issues. Again, one of my concerns really is we want to get those brackets changed out because, well, for obvious reasons, they're not in the best shape. I was hoping we could do that before winter sets in, but we'll be okay through the year, through the winter. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to zoom in on something, and I lost
You're
my
talking about the
control.
current antenna?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, okay, that will last us a long time the way it is. But if we have to take it down or just do anything, we'll have to cut it off there because it's not something we can unbolt now because it's rusted that bad. But it's
right.
not weak. It's not going to fall down on us.
I feel the same way. I think we're being proactive. I mean, it's time to replace the brackets without a doubt. I
No
mean,
doubt about it. When we put a new antenna up, we'll replace the brackets.
yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So that's what we have there. Um, all right. And so we're getting a little headway there on Len, you came across some interesting information. You want to share that in terms of you had a discussion with Mike, WD8S, I
yes, our
believe.
former president, Mike at WD8S, he was at the swap Sunday morning. And so
Oh,
I took the opportunity since we could talk a little bit.
yeah,
And I asked
good.
him a little bit about the history, what documentation he has. And he was president of the club. I don't know how much you guys know about it, but he was president of the club at least 4 times, and it wasn't all continuous 4 times either. And I don't know, like 8 years he was president. So he's got a lot of. But he told me that from what he heard, that how we got up on top of that building is our emergency groups, Oxcom and some other, were working really close with the police and they had good rapport. And so they offered to have them put our repeater up next to their police repeater up there. Remember, and it's up there right now, even.
Right.
And so that's how we got up there. Uh, and I just shared that after I learned about it. I shared it with you. It's not going to help us right now in any way because we've got different people involved in it, but at least we know, have that history in the back of our mind to know
Right.
who it was. Now, obviously, the police department and our emergency people are all different, so it's not the same relationship.
Right. So we know where we are equipment wise. Who is doing the cabling and the
Well, Andrew, Dave, and I are working on the cabling, and anybody else has some abilities to do it. Uh, we
right.
may we may do it all here, or we may take certain pieces and work on it in our own shops. We'll cross that bridge when we know how we want to divvy it up.
Right.
Um,
Right.
some of it will take. Some of it we may have to buy. Uh, like the we have one end connector now that came with the repeater
Right.
cable. That's short. They'll go between the repeater and the amplifier.
Okay.
That's what that'll
Right.
be for. And
Yeah. I have crimpers. I have two sets of crimpers if you need it, and I would
Dave?
volunteer my time, but it's really lately it's kind of tight. But I think after the holidays things will lighten up a little bit if
well,
more help is needed there.
And I
later in
think,
January, when we start getting things together, I hear somebody in there, but then Andrew may want to use your spectrum analyzer again.
Yep.
He thought that was a really helpful tool. But
Good.
when we start putting getting all the cables together, we'll get that spectrum analyzer and maybe keep it here for a week or two, and while they're getting everything set up. And
Yeah.
and
You
I
can
think Dave's
keep
trying to get in.
Dave.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you guys,
All that I Yep. All I wanted to say was just in regards to the cable management inside the rack. Um, I have and will supply Velcro. I would much prefer that we use Velcro than cable ties. Using Velcro makes servicing It's much simpler.
Oh, yeah.
It's the days of cable ties are long gone. So
Wow.
yeah, please, like if somebody is starting to do cable management, please don't use cable ties. I will give you Velcro. I have hundreds of miles of Velcro. I will give you some.
You know what? That's a marvelous idea.
That's
You're absolutely right. Like every time back in the olden days, one of my favorite jobs was cable making. I was like 20 years old at the time, but so we use cable ties, but make them really long, a large loop so you can continually put cables through it. And then even before that, there was a technique that I never really was able to perfect using it's like string. Well, I forget what it's called, but it's you actually it's like a long piece of string and you like weave it around the cables and it was quite something. It's quite a bit of a lot of work, but it really makes the cables management look beautiful. So there's an art part of this as much as a technical part, and we want to show that that we got it done the right way. But that's great, that idea with the Velcro.
We
Good.
have another participant, Larry, K8LXA.
Oh, did he? Oh, excellent. Larry, are you there?
Yeah,
Can you hear us?
I'm here.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining. I'm glad you were
Yeah.
able to.
Sorry I was late, but I was taking care of my wife there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Understood. Yeah, yeah.
I can
hope she's
understand.
doing good. Yeah. And
Yeah.
John too. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. What we're basically, we're just to bring Larry up to speed here real quick. So we went through, we have about half of the equipment, and I'm using rough numbers here, has either been ordered or has either been delivered or is on its way. The idea is to totally build the rack and hook it to, a dummy load or something, and then run it through its paces so that when we actually get it to where it's going, we're not building it. It comes as a complete package, and the hardware can be on the ground. And for as long as the spectrum analyzer is needed, I'll even throw in the oscilloscope actually. Um, because I'm moving and my workshop is pretty much taken apart. But I can't think of a better use to put it to better use than have it over there in the rack as you guys are as everything is being assembled. So
Right. So you're referring to uh, the equipment, but I'm not sure what equipment you're referring to. You're talking about the Artemis thing. You're talking about the new repeater, or we're talking
yes,
about
yeah.
antennas, or we're talking about.
Exactly. So, but what we basically do, so we have a Motorola repeater.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I was trying to find I have a million slides on this, but of course, but we have, oh, here, maybe, or maybe not. So we have the Motorola repeater, which is the current day version of the Quantar, basically, which looks nothing like the Quantar, much smaller, much more effective. What we did was, let me just see if I can pull this up real quick so we can see. Well, I guess I'd hold on.
Here's
I'm
what it
afraid
looks
I'm
like.
not well prepared today because of
Well, Lynn's showing us something there.
That's the repeater. You probably can't see it much, but that's it. And it's a Motorola. See the big M on there. This is
yeah,
Okay.
the backside. Oops.
and it's the Motorola. I just want to pull up the spec sheet if I can find it here. Well, here, I'll put this up. Let me put this up. What is this, 41? So where am I here?
You know, Joe, if Larry wants to get caught up to speed, he can always watch the YouTube videos as
Well,
well.
that's true. Thank you.
You
Yes.
know, because
Yeah.
we're kind of spinning our wheels here.
All right.
Have we considered any thought as to the installation fee that we're going to have to try to save and hopefully have it installed by what, April of next year, I think is when the extension goes through. Do we have any idea as to how much that is going to, the cost is going to be incurred for that? Have we, how are we going to pay for the installation of that antenna if we don't even know where it's going, and
Right.
how can we sit on the money and how do we know how much to save? And what else, honestly, do we really need to purchase at this point for the repeater? I think besides, coax transmission line, I don't know if we want to think about receive sites. Are we still thinking about updating the transceiver? I guess all you would need would be a monoband for any receive site for 2 meters, right? And
Right.
probably a new power supply as well. Antennas for the receive sites, I don't know. I think they're pretty new. They're probably in good condition. You don't need transmit now because we're going to be using the radio thin client module. So we don't need any transmission on UHF anymore, which means you don't need any Yagis. So you won't have to worry about directionality with transmitting from the remote back into the mains anymore. That's a good thing. But do we want to update or do we want to stock a couple extra spare receivers for future sites? Should we use some of the grant money to think about updating the remote receive sites? And exactly how much do we have left, and what left? What is the next priority for what we need to do?
Excellent questions. Yeah. First of all, so this is our current setup, and we're trying to duplicate that as much as possible. Not necessarily, when I say duplicate, I don't mean use this exact equipment, but duplicate the functionality that we see here in this drawing. We're currently allocated for four remote receive sites plus the voter itself, so that's a total of 5 remote receive sites, of which only 3 of them are currently working. One, as you know, is in Oak Park. The other one is at the airport, and and then the third one is at the hospital. You know, working with with Mark on this in terms of getting a specific location for the repeater. Again, and it's just an idea, but to have 2 locations, for example, I don't really see us. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have to nail down and get a document where we are, a permission for a couple reasons for where we are. But let's say, if we were to have the second site, like out at Oakland University, for example, just for example, reach out to them, and if we were able to make that arrangement, and then there could be a flip-flop, like an A-B system, where one repeater can fill in for the other, like an automatic changeover sort of an arrangement. And so we'll see. We'll see about that. That would be an ideal world. The other
I,
thing is, do we want to form a site committee? A couple of people who can go out searching for the new sites for the remote receivers, in addition for the second repeater, and so on. What I would say that, let's hope by next week we'd like a little more information. I'll get with Andrew and Dave. I know you're plugged into this, but just a couple of slides on what our new system is and how the All-Star system, what we expect it to do, and the functionality and things of that sort. So that's certainly something to look towards.
Joe, I did send an email out last week and include everybody about potential sites in Waterford. And
I saw that. Yes, thank
okay,
you for reminding me. Right,
and
right.
that ground elevation out there is over 1,100 feet,
Yeah,
and it's a little bit higher than Oakland University. It's a little bit further west, more in the heart of Oakland County, and there's a few buildings out there that if you take yourself down on Google Earth in 3D zoom mode and pan the horizon, you can see, downtown Detroit and everything to the north as well. So it's a ideal location for either a remote receive or, a future potential new location. Now, of course, unfortunately, it looks like Phil left already. Oh, Phil, are you still in there? Hello, Phil. I see you. Phil, can you hear me, Phil?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I remember a month or so ago, maybe 2 months, you were talking to Greg, W8VIJ, I think it is, in Waterford,
Yeah.
and it was regarding a new location possibly for your repeater because I heard that there might be
Yeah.
something happening with the fire station tower and you might have to find a new location. And he
Yeah. That's
mentioned to
towers
you,
down.
is it okay? And I know you're on UHF and the DART currently, right? We're on VHF, and I had a thought a week or so ago, though he mentioned recommended to you the same site that he recommended to Len, a couple weeks earlier. And I don't know if perhaps, maybe there could be a joint effort between you and the DART, maybe a UHF, your UHF repeater site and the DART on VHF at the same location. I don't think there'd be any mutual interference with the band, but if there's something
Well, we
that
had talked about that when we were on the old other tower, but there was complications. Uh, and we're still up and we haven't locked down where we're going yet. We think we have another government facility that we may be going to, but I can't say whether we'd be able to do something like that. But I
okay,
right.
could
so you
explore it.
didn't you didn't check into the Waterford site, the old OCC campus, then I take it that was recommended to you by
Mm,
Greg.
no, we did not look at that, but we have
Oh,
three possible sites we're looking at right now, and
okay, all righty. Well, I thought perhaps if you didn't have any other location already planned out, then maybe that'd be a mutual idea for your repeater and Dart. So okay, well,
I don't think that facility is very tall. I know it's got a fairly high elevation, but I think it's only like a three-story building, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think
have a,
there is a technical building at OCC, and it might be about 4 stories, but again, the ground elevation is at 1,100 feet, so you're well above, out there when you're in Waterford, you're above everything to begin with, so you wouldn't need much of a structure, I would think, on top of a 3 or 4
Where
story building, even a
where
mast
in
on a
Waterford
tripod.
is it?
It's at oh boy, the old Oakland Community College campus in Highland, the Highland OCC campus.
yeah, I'm looking
Cooley
for your
Lake
email.
Drive.
I'm looking for your email to show. You had a nice picture of it, a photo of it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, and I had the projection, I guess, from where we are currently to the two new possible future locations in
Can you remind
elevation.
me the day and time when you sent that so I
It
can,
would have been either last Monday or last Tuesday.
right? Okay. But it's from you. Okay, so hold
So
on.
what are the intersections of that facility?
I would have to look at the email to find it again. I can, I don't have Google Earth pulled up real quick. I do have it saved in Google Earth. I just have to look, research, type in OCC Highland Hills on Google. I can't remember if it was on Cooley Lake or Commerce Lake or Airport or something like that out there in Waterford. But the ground elevation is really good, and I guess you would have to approach the city or the township because what I recall Greg mentioning is that the city is taking control of the premises, the property. So you would have to probably approach someone in the city, perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing this out there. It's a possibility with an elevate, a site with a good ground elevation to begin with, right? That's what we need. So
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's definitely a good start. I'm looking for your email on 12/2, I think you sent it. It was but for some reason,
I think, yeah, it was probably Tuesday, the day after we, or it might have been
yeah,
Monday. I might have started getting involved in it last Monday. Sometimes, I get a hair up my ass and I can't stop until it's finished, right?
right,
So
right, right,
it might have been Monday night or Tuesday. I wouldn't imagine any later. I
yeah.
sent it to the whole group, so
Yeah.
sure everybody
Okay, I'm trying to pull it up here. Um,
probably resend it real quick.
yeah, if you could, because oh, here it is, right here. Wow. Well, I'm very impressed that I found it. Hold on a minute. I got it right here. Let me put it up. Oh no, this is no, not. Oh, here, down here. Okay, stand by a minute, everybody. Hold on. I'm trying. Uh, um, you're talking about this facility here, right, Al?
You can't see, we're seeing you. We don't see your screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Oh,
No.
okay. Stand by a minute. Let me. Oh, God. This computer. I can't wait till my new laptop arrives, which will be some point. Um, I mean, part of the battle here is. All right, hold on a minute.
Yeah, I think I found it. Okay. Cooley Lake in hospital.
Yep, that's it.
Here
Yep.
we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So let me just take that down a minute. It's this facility. God, so bad. Hold on. Finding my cursors. Here we go. There we go. Okay, this is what I was trying. Can you
You got
see
it. Yep.
now, Al?
Yeah, you got it. You just made it small. There you oh, your
Hold on a
screen's still
second.
small though. You might want to enlarge it.
I'm trying to do the best I can.
I
I'm
know. I
on
try. I don't know
someone
how.
else's computer here, so. But yeah, see, I can see it says elevation 10, 10, 15, right? And if you look at your little map there, so there we are. So we're right here, W8HP, yes, right here. We're right there, and then OCC. Okay, I see. It's right up Orchard Lake Road, right? Is this what we were talking about?
Yes, and the other thumbnail to the right, that's Oakland community. That's where you were talking about,
Right there.
a couple weeks ago, and that's basically due north of where the
Yeah,
dart is right now.
yeah,
And the other
yeah.
one is more northwest, and the elevation is higher northwest. That's up in the hills out there. That's up in Highland Hills. You can see the green, in the geography. That's all
Hmm.
hilly area up in there. And that'd get us up to the north, it'd get us out to the northwest and down to the south and over to the east and southwest and everything else. So if we were gonna move anything, I think that would be the location we want to be in. That or Lake Agulhas, where we were before. Now I talked to John
What?
during Len's repeater party at Space Unit Base One, and he was mentioning that there might be a possibility that the Lake Angeles site might still be in use, so we might be able to still get back in there for maybe a remote or maybe even the whole darn system. So I think
Well,
maybe you might want to readdress possibilities of getting back out to the Lake Angeles. What was it, Lake Angeles up there in
yeah,
Auburn Hills?
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. There's two things about that. Lake Angeles is that because that's where the observatory was. They had all those telescopes and all that, but they purposely where it is, even though the elevation, generally speaking, is higher around Lake Angeles there, which is near the big shopping center out there, Global Crossing. Although the general geography is higher, they specifically chose that location, I'm guessing, because you only have limited visibility in one direction, and the idea is to shield the telescopes from the lights of the urban lights there. Of course, back when that was a real facility, there wasn't as much building as there is today. If they allowed us back in, we without even thinking about it, we would go right back because it does provide a bit of coverage, and it is looking towards Detroit. the backside of it, however, to get up into the upper northwest corner of Oakland County, which is what we're aiming for in this area here, that would be probably not very probable there. Let me
Well,
just
when it was up and running, I was able to hear the dart all the way up to just south of Grand Blanc, in between Holly and Grand Blanc, and I was able to access the dart through the Auburn Hills Lake Angelus. Is it Angelus, Lake Angeles receive site? So I was still able to work the dart almost up into Genesee County.
So here's what I was looking for.
Yeah, see
So
that C-75 going up to the upper left of Oakland County?
over here, right,
Up,
right.
yep, keep going, keep going. That's where I was, right there, right there is where I last heard it, right there. Yep,
No kidding. No
yes,
kidding.
yep. And I was able to work the Lake Angeles site, which is at the 20 mile ring, back down
Right.
I-75, just north of the Waterford
Yeah,
indicator.
it's
So
right. It's right. Where would it be?
Auburn Hills, gotta go up by Auburn Hills, keep going, keep going, keep going. There, right up in there in that turn. Yep, right.
Waterford, right up here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So right,
yeah,
the
so
the further.
that site was able to receive me on Holly Road just before the Genesee border. So
Wow.
there's a little vertical, that the road right there going north. Yep, where your arrow, that's Holly Road. Holly
Is it?
Road where the blue line is, and Holly Road going down into that little blob below it. That's Holly. If you go south where your cursor is, that's the town of Holly. You look,
Right. Yeah.
keep going down, 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 right there, right there. That's
That's Holly
Holly.
right there.
Yep. And that road going north, that gray road, that's Holly Road going up into Grand Blanc and then into Flint. So
Right.
right there at the border, right before the blue line, right about where the blue and the red line meet,
Wait, let me
is,
get a good cursor.
is
My
about where I last was able to work the repeater. So
right
that
up.
Lake Angeles site works really well. If we could get back into there, that'd be wonders. For reception wise into the dart. And I know, you can hear the dart the dart transmits better than it receives, right? You can hear it better than you can get into it. And that's the problem. That's the main issue. And that's why you need really remote receive sites, to cover
Well,
because
yeah.
right now you're at the 30 mile ring and you're almost engulfed in the last little corner of Oakland County, right? And almost
Right.
all the way through Macomb County. So you only got a couple little corners out there. And if you needed, if we're going to be, relaying All Star, you could put a couple nodes at a ham station out there, and anybody
Yeah.
passing by on the road could work the dart through a node.
Right. Right. And our goal here is to be able to all this energy that's going out over the lake. And although in Ontario, I think that that's fine. But if we could somehow get this RF up into that corner and up into this corner, that would really go a long way. And by moving the center north and west, or even just north, we not only gain a height in altitude, significant height in altitude, um, but we also, geographically have accomplished the goal. So, although going mobile marine would be very interesting, I don't know that we have a lot of members who are out there. This is Lake St. Clair, I believe, and so that's really our goal, is to shift this footprint. The other thing I want to say about this footprint is it was put together a number of years ago, and I'm not really sure what the parameters were, but our goal, and I had the map up here, our goal is to be able to reach here is our goal is ideally here is to be able to service Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, and look at if we could get Lapeer and Genesee, Livingston, and Washtenaw. I mean, that would be ideal, wouldn't it? So these crosshairs are it's like a half a mile from where Oakland University is. And again, it would be very advantageous, I think, for us. I mean, our club motto is service through education, and to form a partnership with the School of Engineering up there, that would probably be a good thing for us if we're, able to even do that.
Well,
So,
that crosshair definitely isn't close to Oakland University by any stretch of the imagination. And I
The
don't know
other thing,
what's the
uh,
radius of that circle too. That looks a little bit larger than what you currently have at what,
yeah,
20 or 30 miles. If you
yeah.
go back to the previous slide,
Okay,
it
hold
looks
on.
like what is in yellow is the actual topology, the topograph area.
Right,
See the
right,
right, the hills are probably where you're not, your
mm,
reception is fading in. There's a couple valleys in that. You can see north of Auburn Hills going into Lake Orion. There's valleys in there.
right.
So, the yellow is actually whoever did this. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how you
but
Well,
get the
there's
power
a
I
factor
think
in it.
Dave's trying to get in.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll let
Dave,
you
sorry,
go.
gents.
it's hard to
I
get
just had a
in.
quick. Yeah, everybody's quick keying. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know we're nearly at the end of this meeting, but I actually need to jump off right now. But does anybody have anything for me? Otherwise, I'm going to drop off right now.
I just want to say job well done. It's great to see that coming together. It's such an important part, and especially since this is the ARDC, right? Digital Amateur
Right.
Radio Digital Communication. So, uh, excellent. Thank you for that, David.
See you, Dave.
All right. See you folks on Wednesday. See ya. Bye.
Oh, I got a
Okay.
chance to jump in. I'm just going to remind that one of our main things that we list on our webpage and stuff is that we are the backup, RPSC. And
Right.
if we could provide county-wide coverage for when we're doing backup, because they've had several periods of time over the last 2 years where they've had problems with the repeater and stuff. Believe it or not, they cannot get to their own equipment. They have to make arrangements with Oakland County technicians to get to any of their equipment. So they
Oh, I
can't do
see.
anything fast, like run over to a building and go up the stairs or anything like that. So for us to be able to have all of countywide coverage for Oakland County would be a big plus for our backup capabilities for the ARPSC. And that's why I keep pushing for that Northwest, because it wouldn't take much to take that yellow circle and move it up I-75 a little ways and have 100% coverage.
Yes. Right. And that's our goal, is to be
Right.
able to do that and reach out. The university, they're having trouble out there, I guess, with the pipes or something. But
That's a temporary thing that'll get fixed. I
oh,
mean,
I know. I'm just saying,
it's nothing.
for immediately communicating with them.
Right. Yeah.
But that would be ideal, and also to get the students involved from the engineering
Yeah.
school there. So that would really be
Bring life to amateur radio.
Yeah, yeah,
Young life.
yeah.
So just let me understand the map I'm looking at. The 30 is a 30-mile radius, or
Yes, that's
so
what I.
so we're running what 100 watts or 200 watts now out of the repeater.
So the repeater we have, because they were able to deliver it, and also we saved a bit. So it's not an exact replacement of the Quantar, but it's one of the models. The output of the repeater itself, I believe, is only 50 watts, but we have purchased a 100-watt amplifier. So,
Oh, he's
Okay.
asking about what we're putting out right now.
oh, I'm sorry, Len, say again.
Larry's asking what we're putting out right now. How much
Oh,
power?
right now, well, putting 80 watts. 80 watts was measured uh who about a couple years ago. We did this with
Okay,
from
so
breakfast
yeah.
from the Macomb County. Who am I talking about? But so yes, so we measured.
So we're putting out 80 watts now, and
Yeah.
we can reach the between the 20 and a 30-mile range. Is that correct?
Right. But Larry, here's the issue, is that on our transmit side, because we're putting out 80 watts into an antenna that has a gain of about 5 dB or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So it's like 160 watts, more or less. Um, so we're able to do that. If we get a little bit of height and then we move north or northwest, we'll easily be able to cover the five well, certainly the four major counties that we're setting out to do that we set as our goal. So yes. Did I answer the question? I hope.
I think so. So the new equipment that you're going to get, you're saying you're only going to put out 50 watts? Is that
No, the repeater is a 50-watt transmitter, but that will go into an external amplifier, which is a
Mhm.
100-watt amplifier. So I know I'm
So actually
complicated.
you have about 20 watts more than you have currently.
Yes,
You got 80 watts now, you're going to be putting out 100.
100. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Into the
So,
antenna. And then the antenna has a gain. It has a little more gain as well, a couple dB more gain.
right. So the reception that you're getting currently uh, will incrementally improve because the 20 watts is not going to double your range or anything. It's just going to ensure that you get a better, more reliable coverage within the area that you're covering.
That's right. And by going to a higher altitude and moving northwest, that'll better situate the footprint to
Right.
more evenly cover the.
So, so you will gain the two quadrants you were talking about, the northeast and northwest quadrant. You'll be able to cover that better because
Yes,
of the location change and the altitude change and
that's
also the power change. So all in all, the northwest and northeast coverage should improve, but also the southeast and southwest will improve because of the altitude and power change.
that's right. That's right. So we don't expect to get a lot more coverage due to the increase in power, but we do expect by geographically
Right,
resituating ourselves. Yes,
right.
exactly.
The increase in power just gives you a little bit more reliable coverage within the area you're in because
And
20 watts is not going to mean a lot.
no,
I
but
mean,
there's one
it's
other
significant, but it's not going to mean
important
a
thing.
lot.
Yes, there's one other important thing to keep in mind too, if we have our way. What we'd like to do, let me see if I can go back to the first picture that I had up. What we'd like to do is resituate the um, oh, here we go. All right, just a second. Hold on. Oh, come on. Um, oh, we we want to. Here we go. Okay. So the repeater rack will go just on the other side of this wall. Now, what we would ideally like to do is, we could use these brackets for mounting the antenna, so we don't have to drill any more holes, which is what they're concerned about. But not only that, our transmission line, which is, I don't know, maybe 40 feet, it's heliax. I think it's half inch, I think, or three quarter. I forgot. But that there'll be significant gain right there in that the heliax will go from like 35, 40 feet down to about 10 feet, frankly. Because if we can mount that antenna right there, I think we're good to go. And also, that's our other point when we approach the management saying, because their concern is you can see this is after the cell phone companies have left, and there's quite a few penetrations that were made. They're filled with foam now, but they didn't want any more penetrations, and it's not necessary. All we got to do is slap this thing right up there, right there.
Sure.
So there'll be gain because we have a shorter transmission line too. Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
from
it
this
makes sense.
location.
And
But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say when I was up there with you and John, um, what, 2 years ago or so,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, I took a look at where you were and what we were doing. Uh, the southeast corner. No, I guess it was the VHF antenna. I think I was looking at a little bit of corrosion on it, and maybe that was a
right.
limiting factor on some of the stuff you got
Yeah,
also.
that there's a little more. It's more than a little corrosion. It's actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, what is this? This is not what I thought it was. Okay. Um, so just FYI, this is I don't know. Again, I'm not on my computer, so I'm having a kind of a difficult time here. But
So Joe,
what
let
this
me ask you a
gives the
quick
I oh
question.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Al, just for a
Oh,
second. What I did want to just show. This is what I was looking for. So you can see here. This is the actual gain, elevation gain or loss. So this is the ground. It's not on top of the building. This is just the ground. So we're gaining a bit there. And I'm just trying. Oh, it's between. So it's this point. So I see what this is. So this is where the repeater is now, and then I guess this is looks like it's something going downtown. So you could see the difference in the gain at that. The more you go west, the higher altitude gain you get. So this only shows between the river and our current location. And of course, what we want to do is continue this uphill, which continues getting higher and higher, which is of course to our advantage. I have one other piece I wanted to show.
What did Al want there, Joe?
What?
Did you want to let
yeah,
Al in while you're looking for it?
Yeah,
Al had
Al,
a
go ahead.
comment.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Al, go ahead.
yeah, I'm curious. Could the Lake Angeles site, the old received site, if it's still available, could it house a repeater? Could we perhaps look at the potential of using that as the new location or another location for a transmit repeater instead of just a receive site? And I think, if there's still an option of, retaining that site or getting something new going, I think, that's an ideal area. That's very good elevation. And, if this is John mentioned that, we might still be welcome there. So I don't know if anyone's reached out or put any effort into maybe, making contact with them. And perhaps maybe that's a site, maybe that's a location, in itself to put the repeater at.
You see, the one thing you would think, but the one thing again, like I said, they chose that site for the telescopes to block the light from the city. So it's kind of down in a valley, actually. Although it's interesting that you were able, when it was on the air, that we were able to get that far north. So it's always hard to tell. One of the activities that we've been talking about, haven't quite organized, it would be great if someone can help with this, is to be able to go for a drive and then take readings. So we have some realistic idea in terms of the signal to noise that we're receiving, and like in this northwest area here that you were talking about. If we could take a few measurements, like maybe cut this pie into 8 slices, and along each one of the radials, drive, I don't know, every 10 miles or something, and just click, push the transmit and to trigger the repeater, and then measure the signal to noise on the carrier to give us a sense. The idea of the remote receivers, I don't know what the original idea is, but the way it's turned out is it's not wasn't not so much for expanding our footprint as it is for filling in the gaps in our footprint. And the reason the transmit's so much better is because you're running, 80 watts into a 5 dB gain antenna versus a handheld or even a mobile radio. I mean, what is mobile radio? 35, 40 watts, but it's, on a antenna that's on the top of a car or a handheld or something like that. So that's where the remote receives are really, really important. We're running enough power where we can get the transmit coverage we need if we're located in the right spot, but it's the receive side, and that's the challenge, and that's the function of the remote receivers to help fill in that gap.
Well, exactly. The dart transmits better than it receives. That's the problem. You can't get
Yeah,
back into it. Even a handy talkie in Oak Park can't operate the dart. Perhaps it's because of RF. Who knows? Obstructions maybe. So we got to make
well,
sure if you're going to move the whole Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club out to Waterford, are we still going to be the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club? Would it be the Waterford Amateur Radio Club? And would we
no,
now be
it's the
covering
Haze,
the
it's
Flint,
the
or would it
Hazel
be
Park Amateur Radio Club for sure. To
would we
answer
be
your question, if you look at this for a minute about why we can't, our reception close to the repeater is so bad. So this is a plot that the manufacturer of the antenna has given us, and I kind of blew it up. That's why it's kind of fuzzy. But you can see the idea, and you can see that the bulk of the energy more or less goes straight out. The antenna does not have much of a tilt to it. You do have a little bit of downward coverage here. So that's why it is sometimes difficult to get right in when you're right. When I say within 2 or 3 miles, like Al, I mean, where Al is too. You would have expected him to receive a stronger signal, but again, it's because we don't have that tilt. And you can get an antenna with a downward tilt, but then what happens? So now you're giving up the extended, the main
it's
lobe.
it's a lower
So
gain. Lower gain has a higher takeoff angle, and a higher gain antenna has a lower takeoff angle. It's more horizontal. A low gain antenna is more circular, more round. It has a higher takeoff angle. So the angle going up in reverse is the angle coming down. So right, you got a high gain antenna, your takeoff angle is lower, more horizontal with the earth, the land,
right,
as opposed to a low gain antenna, it's more of a ball. And they always mention, when setting up a repeater or an antenna on a mountain, you don't need a lot of gain. You need less gain so you get down into the valleys. So we keep over gaining these antennas, and we're defeating the cause. We're defeating our cause of getting into it. We're putting too much gain once again. And somebody mentioned, I think it was in the email chain, about trying to get on a pre-existing tower, a school tower or a college tower. And
yeah,
seeing all the drama that's happening lately with all these repeaters in buildings and buildings, not allowing, access and restricting, and with us, it sure seems like you got to jump through a lot of hoops with these real estate owners in these buildings, and they all come down to one question: what is it in for me? What am I getting out of it? What are our clients getting out of it? Now you're dealing with, boy, oh boy, insurance issues, and working, with what is how is it going to benefit somebody, as opposed to a structure, an antenna tower that is what you want to begin with, an isotropic antenna in space, right? That's how you get your most gain out and your best reception in. There's no obstruction, there's nothing else below it, and there's no residents bitching that there's RF. So,
right,
man, I'm
right,
telling you, if we could reach out to any kind of tower locations, and I did send an email before about all the commercial towers in the area, just in Oak Park and Royal Oak alone, in a 2 mile radius, there's over 250 commercial towers. You know,
right, right.
I
Well,
don't know if we could somehow maybe reach out or see if there's any way to, get a standoff on an existing tower. That would be ideal. And, what's wrong with the water tower? You know, that's a
you know,
facility in itself. It
our
has good
antenna
elevation. could you put a VHF next to the UHF? I don't
Well,
see why you couldn't. It's not on the same band. It's two different
there's a
bands. There
few
wouldn't be
things
any equal.
about the water tower, just so you know. First of all, the our antenna is not on the top of the tower; it's on one of the legs. But the second thing is,
John G. Garden says it's on the top of the tower. He
did
says they
he?
put it on the top of the tower. Yep, it's
That's
on
not
the
what I
top.
understand. All right, either way,
Oh,
but
okay,
here,
okay, yeah, yeah.
but here's the juggernaut, I guess, is just like I forgot who just said it, but we don't have access to there. In order to get access to the equipment, you have to call ahead and somebody has to meet you there and open up the gate. It's not as easy where we are now at the apartment building. You know, we want to make things better than what it currently is, but they've been very cooperative with us, and we've haven't, except for our last request, which is why I think there's some wiggle room there. Um, we've had pretty much free access as what we needed. We don't have that at the water tower.
It's
The
all a
water,
catch 20. It's all a catch 22, really, right?
yeah. So, all right. Anyway, that's where we are at the minute, at the moment, and we'll pick this up. I guess Wednesday. I hope we have. It's going to be a nice gathering there, and at the library, and we can talk about it some more. But the key, I believe, is we to develop a site committee, a couple of people who could do this and come up not only with the options but do a little reaching out, and we'll get that sorted. So okay, any last closing comments? Well, thank you everybody for being here, and we'll keep marching forward, and hopefully we'll see everybody Wednesday, but if not, we'll hear you on the air, or we'll talk to you at breakfast on Saturday, and we'll just keep one foot in front of the other. So 73s, take care, and we'll all talk soon.